the Bagpress Pro V4 review, as promised. Welcome back. Not quite an unboxing, as I've already used it, which I need to be able to give you a review. But here it is back in the package that it arrives in. Very substantial plywood box, which is great to protect it during its journey. A little awkward to get it out though, as it's not packaged in a way that you can reach the handles. I've put it back in the box with the handle easy to access. And there it is, a weighty little thing. Not quite sure what the weight is. I'll look it up and put it in the description below. But there's the pump. Sat in a nice little cradle, lovely bit of varnished ply, with the pressure gauge visible on the top. There's next to nothing to do to it. It comes preset at the right vacuum level that you need it to operate at. And it does say in the manual, let's talk about the manual. It's not a manual, it's a piece of paper. A piece of paper in the singular. And it does contain the information that you need, some of the information that you need to get started. I felt it left me with unanswered questions, and I felt the need to go back to the manufacturer's website and then to look through forums and surf through Google to find the answers to the questions that I wanted answered before I turned it on. So here's the manual. A little disappointing for £700 worth of equipment, but then, so in the box you get the pump, you get a piece of tube to connect to your bag, you get a piece of breathable material, I'll explain that in a tick, and you get a foot switch. The cardboard tube contains the bag itself, 2 sealing strips, and the valve that you need to connect to the bag. I'll get the bag out and show you what I mean. So here's the bag itself. Now I've already fitted the valve, but it does not, I repeat, does not come fitted. You have to do that yourself. With this particular kit, the bag is absolutely huge. It's advertised at 2.4 meters, I believe, which would be one hell of a veneer up job. So here are the 2 sealing strips that I mentioned. Let me zoom you in on these. And this is the part of the kit that I think is really cheap. This is the base of a piece of conduit. It looks like 12, 13 mil conduit. And you have a rubber tube. And it's a very simple idea, which is why they can get away with it, I believe. To seal the bag, you place the bag crease free on top of the conduit, and then you push the bag into the conduit with your rubber tube. Like so. Really important that there's no creases in the bag at all, otherwise that could allow the air to ingress as opposed to escape. And the process of doing that creates the airtight seal. And you do the same at the other end, because although I've referred to it as a bag multiple times, and the instructions and indeed all of the marketing and advertising call it a bag, it is in fact a tube. That end is not sealed. So let's move on to the outlet valve. So the outlet valve, as you can see here, is a 2-piece affair. I'll put up a little short clip of me fitting the valve so that you can see, but it's 2 pieces. You cut a very exacting hole in it, push the bottom piece up through, clip the little clamp down on it, and then you have essentially an 8mm water push fit connector that the red tube simply pushes into and creates the seal, and then the other end goes straight into the pump and then push to release. Now, after the couple of scathing comments I've just made, you may be starting to get the impression that I'm not pleased with the equipment. I am pleased with it. It's functioned absolutely beautifully. I just felt a little disappointed with the presentation of the kit when I took it out the box, and a couple of parts of it. There is one part of this vacuum press that I'm not best pleased with, and that's the fact that it's a continuous run pump. It doesn't have a micro sensor in it to allow it to automatically switch off once it achieves the required vacuum, and then to turn on again if the pressure in the bag drops. That would have been great. It would have saved electric. But this particular pump doesn't have that. So it's fairly simple to set up. Once you've installed your valve, you decide on the amount of room you need for the piece that you're going to apply the veneer to, and then you take one of your pieces of conduit and you slip it underneath the tube bag at the back end far enough away and seal it off with the rubber tube. Like so. At this point, you're ready to insert your substrate, or to put it another way, the base platform or platen on which you would place your prepared piece to be veneered with the veneer already on it. I didn't have one of these. I didn't know I needed one. I'd seen other people using them, but I didn't have one, so I had to make one. And this obviously doesn't come in the kit. It is nothing more than a piece of solid board with slots cut in it to allow the air to escape once the press is turned on. If you don't have one of these underneath, then the air may get trapped in pockets under the bag where it's been sucked up tight to the base of your piece, and you may not achieve a flat veneer all the way across. So the next job, and this is probably the most fiddly of the lot, is to get this into the bag without knocking it onto the floor. And I found the best way is to get a couple of leftover bits of timber, or in my case a couple of bits of leftover chopping board ends, and then to slide your baseboard in like so. With my baseboard in place, I'm now good to go. I can take my piece that I've got my veneer on, simulation here, no veneer here, you probably noticed, I'll save that for another video. And I take that very carefully and place it in the bag on top of my board underneath the valve. Now this is where the breathable material that I referred to earlier comes into play. If you just leave the valve sitting on top of your material, it's quite likely to suck itself firmly to the top of your piece and create just a mini vacuum there in underneath it, and therefore there'd be no pressure around here. So this piece of, it feels like a cheap piece of bedding actually, slips in the bag on top of your piece directly underneath the valve, and thereby ensures that air can continue to escape from the bag through the valve. So the air comes out of the bag along the channels, up through here, over and out. So I'm now ready to seal the bag with my piece of conduit. And as mentioned before, ensuring that there are no creases in the bag. I can attach my tube into the push-fit valve, and similarly a push-fit valve on the pump, and I'm good to go. I've got the foot pump up here so that you can see it, and you literally press the pedal and there's a little locking latch in there. Here we go. Takes a very short amount of time for the pump to vacuum out the air, and if you watch, you can see it suck everything down. And there you go, that's essentially it. Your piece now stays inside the bag, in the vacuum, for the period of time specified by your adhesive manufacturer, not by the pump manufacturer. Something else that you'll have to find out for yourself. Although afterwards it does seem like common sense. Once you've reached that period of time specified by your adhesive manufacturer, you merely take it out the bag. And fingers crossed, everything's lovely and flat. So the Veneer Press bag is in essence nothing more than a replacement for a set of clamps. Well, a very large set of clamps depending on the piece that you've got. Well, there you have it. The Bagpress Veneer Kit V4 Pro, I believe is its full title. Am I pleased with my purchase? Yes, I am, because my project was a success. Would I buy it again? I'm not sure that I would. I think it's extremely overpriced for what you get, which is essentially a mini compressor, a plastic tube and a couple of bits of conduit. If I'm in the market for another one, and I suspect at some point I will be when this one wears out, I'll definitely look for one that's got a micro switch with it. I would definitely advise anybody considering having a go at veneering to get a Veneer Press, as it takes all of the potential pain and questions out of the clamping and allows you to concentrate on the rest of veneering, which is a type of woodworking but its own industry in its own right. And an opportunity for another video coming soon. So stay tuned and don't miss out. And while I'm at it, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get alerted to the next and others in this fun place to be. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ta-ra!